Hello, I'm back with a reading from Sunday, January 22nd, 2017. Insight. I am here to be a human. I've been concentrating on my purpose being spiritual evolution, and that is true too. But more specifically, I'm here right now on this earth to be a human. That is my purpose. That is how I will learn the most. Messy, chaotic, emotional, hypocritical, judgmental, bewildered, beautiful, glorious human. And therefore, I also cannot neglect my human needs. I can't make excuses of doing something spiritual instead of doing my dishes. Doing my dishes is a very human thing to do. Wednesday, January 25th, 2017. I'm feeling myself getting overwhelmed. There's so much going on in the political arena right now. So much, and stuff that is really scary. And I feel the stress and worry leaching into me. I know that I've got to find a way to find some balance. I feel the need to stay informed, to know what is going on in the world, but it's too much. I've got to find a way to pick my battles. And not only that, I've got to find a way to take care of myself too. Shane and I were talking last night, and he pointed out some things that really made me think. The fact that I am making myself feel guilty for tuning out and distracting my brain. Maybe that's not such a bad thing for me to do sometimes. I just need to make sure I find the balance and not completely shut down. I need to use my body. I need to be active, and I need to be healthy. I also need a creative outlet. I ordered a book on my camera, so I'm going to do some reading up and start taking pictures just for me. I want to keep up with my spiritual practice and actually practice. And I have got to moderate my Facebook usage. That is going to be key. Thursday, January 26th, 2017. I make a lot of excuses. I procrastinate. I hesitate. I avoid. I'm not living a full life out of fear of the unknown and fear of potential pain. I get very wrapped up in the idea of doing something, the planning to do something, but the actual doing of the something always seems to get lost or forgotten, put off, excused away. I can't keep living like this, in fear. I want to find my courage to live wholly, fearlessly, fully. That sounds so romantic, and I make these kinds of declarations all the time, but this is where the test is. Saturday, January 28th, 2017. This is also very complicated and hard to wrap my mind around, but for some reason it feels right. This knowledge that I am acquiring about how the universe works and our purpose for being here. Some of it is still beyond me. Like, I understand it and it rings true that our purpose here is the evolution of our consciousness. But why? On the grand scale, why did the Absolute want to create all of this? What is the grand purpose for it all? I feel like I have a grasp of my small human scale, but my mind doesn't seem to be evolved enough to understand the grand scheme of it all. Anyhow, being as it is with my limited understanding, the best I can do is to focus on the pertinent information, what I need to know to work on my current evolution. So apparently right now, I'm working on refining my causal body. That is my soul. And it needs to be refined in order to bridge the gap to the next plane. think I'm sorry, this is a side note. I think I'm getting into some like esoteric stuff right now. There's a lot of like terminology that I haven't used yet in these writings. And so let's see. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'm going to just mention this now. I don't know if I mentioned this in the journal writing because, like I've said before, I never had any intention of sharing this stuff. It was all just for my own personal understanding and helping me kind of sort through the stuff that I'm learning. So I'm going to keep going, but some of this stuff might not make a whole lot of sense. Sorry. I'm still trying to figure out like my method for doing these readings, whether or not I should like skip over certain things or summarize certain things or just read it word for word. So I'm gonna just keep continuing. Okay, so anyhow, being as it is with my limited understanding, the best I can do is to focus on the pertinent information, what I need to know to work on my current evolution. So apparently right now I am working on refining my causal body. That is my soul. And it needs to be refined in order to bridge the gap to the next plane and triad. The first 3 planes together as a triad have been about developing the persona, the lower self, the ego. The next triad is focused on developing the higher self. Right now, in the human plane, my job is to develop the causal body to bridge the gap to the next plane, the unity plane. So bridging the gap between the lower self and the higher self. Oh, and apparently this will take thousands of incarnations. Some ways to work on this include paying more attention to, and therefore developing my intuition above emotion and rational thought. Some ways to practice this include introspection and meditation. Another way is to practice thinking more abstractly, beyond logic and rationality, like through studying subjects like esoterics. There's a little gap in the writing. I just had an epiphany about some of this stuff that I am learning. Epiphany may not be the correct word, as it wasn't some original information that my mind came up with. It was more of a profound integration, like a key finally clicking into a lock, and I had a very strange reaction to it. I'm studying about the first self, or persona, essentially the parts that make up a human being. We have 5 different bodies: the physical, the etheric or energetic, the emotional or astral, the mental or intellectual mind, and the lesser causal body, the conceptual mind. So the actual self is the monad, which is made out of quaternary matter. The physical body is made out of tertiary matter, and the rest, the subtle bodies, are made out of secondary matter. See page 65, figure 5b in The Science of Spirituality by Lee Bladen. I still don't understand why the physical body is made out of a higher level of matter than the subtle bodies, but I'll leave that alone for now. Anyway, so it finally clicked that if our subtle bodies, which control our thoughts and emotions, and our physical body are made out of an entirely different type of matter than our actual self, our monad, then they cannot be the same thing. So the Buddhist teachings are right, that we are not our thoughts and emotions. But it finally clicked. On an atomic level, what I have always thought of as me are actually several entirely different beings on their own evolutionary paths. That's fucking mind-blowing. If somebody read this, they would think I was crazy. So here you are hearing this, that I think you're gonna think I'm crazy. And I was acting crazy when it finally hit me. I started giggling uncontrollably, so much so that I had to restrain myself so that Shane wouldn't hear me from the other room. I didn't want to have to explain to him why I was giggling. And then I started softly crying. And then I got really, really calm. I'll make a side note. That was just one of those insights that kind of come to you every now and then, where things just finally like start to make sense, where all the information that has been gathered comes together into a coherent like understanding finally. And I know that there was a lot of esoteric terminology in here that might not make sense to you if you haven't been exposed to it, but essentially what the insight was that we are not, in fact, our thoughts and emotions, that we are something entirely different, that they are just experiences that we are having, that are like emotional and mental bodies or selves are actually their own separate entities that we are essentially just using as tools in order to be able to interact with this reality. So yeah, just a finally a clicking into place, the understanding that we are not, in fact, our thoughts and emotions. Thursday, February 2nd, 2017. For the last 2 mornings, as I have been waking up, I've had a vague, semi-conscious thought that I had either been dreaming or half-consciously thinking that I had just been in 2 places at once, and thought of it at the time as a confirmation that all that I have been learning about the nature... Oh, sorry, this sentence is not making sense. Sorry, I'm going to start this over. For the last 2 mornings, as I have been waking up, I've had the vague, semi-conscious thought that I had either been dreaming or half-consciously thinking that I had just been in 2 places at once, and thought of it at the time as confirmation of all that I have been learning about the nature of the universe. And then later in the day, I'm feeling overwhelmed by what is going on in our country. I've been trying to limit my exposure, but there's just so much that's wrong that I feel immobilized. I just can't believe how bad it is and how people can be so hateful. I want to help, but I don't know where to begin. I can't even make phone calls to my members of Congress because I can't narrow it down to a single issue to call about. And I can't keep up with what is going on because it's all happening so fast and there's so much of it. It's just so much all at one time. Trump is changing our country so quickly, taking people's rights, encouraging racism, sexism. I can't even name it all. My heart is broken by everything that's happening, and I feel alone. I don't have anybody to talk to about it. I've been trying to just deal with it as best as I can, but I need support, and I can't believe I'm still in the same lonely place I was a year ago. I'm still so lonely. I can't believe I still have no support network, and I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed by that. I feel like I've been trying so hard to get out into my community, to give myself the opportunity to meet people, and I am meeting people. I guess I don't know where to go from there, though. I don't know how to turn acquaintances into friends. God, I feel stupid. I'm not giving up, though, just feeling a bit emotional, a little weak. Like I would love to have someone to lean on for just a moment. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I'll see you guys in the next one.